Back to 2NL Zoom on Pokerstars. Welcome to this new edition. It's been a while since I did one of these, and the reason is that I played a lot of live poker in the last few weeks. And now I'm trying to be back a little more consistently, doing a 2NL Zoom one, doing a 25NL Zoom soon, and also I want to get back to the regular tables. So bear with me and watch me play. And if you have any questions, as always, just get in touch. Okay, first hand, I just flat called this in the big blind against small blind open. Now we have an open ender. Now we have top pair, but we lose to an ace. So I think we have to check this one back. And depending on the action on the river, I might go for a value bet. He bets very small, which makes me think that he does not have an ace, but I think it would be way too thin to raise. I can't fold, so I will just call this one, and we beat a pair of fives. So he rivered, bottom pair, and we got a little bit of value in the first hand that we played. Okay, king 5 off. If it folds to me, it's still a fold, so I will just fast fold. 9-8 off, not a hand I would like to open. So as you can see, I've played 15 hands, and my VPIP is 7-6 now even, and the raises is 0. Now we have a limp on the button, and we have 9-3 offsuit. So let's see a flop. The flop is not amazing for us, and we don't even really have backdoors, so we can't do much. Don't know if there is any hope in trying to bluff this one, but I think I will just give up. My hand is just so hopeless that I just don't want that. Funnily enough, well, we lost to king 4 offsuit, but funnily enough, we even had some showdown value because we had 9 high, and if he had a hand like, say, 6-5 or 6-4 or something like that, we could even have won it with our absolutely hopeless hand. And maybe we could have gotten king high to fold, but I'm just not too bothered about it. It's a hand that I basically gave up on pre-flop, 9-3 offsuit. So, yeah, whatever the outcome was, okay. Yeah, not being blessed with lots of playable hands, 4-3 suited, under the gun, not something I would want to open either. So we will continue with not having any playable hands. Now we have a limp under the gun and then a min raise. Gosh, these are players, but ace-6 offsuit simply just can't play that hand. Ace-8 offsuit in the small blind. We could open it, but we can't because there is an open before us. Yeah, this is just no playable hand. I am sorry. We just have to be patient and continue. Jack 10 off, not a hand I would open under the gun. King 3 suited. Well, okay, we've got another limp here. I'm just going to color code him as a non-crusher, but I can't do anything about it. We are just being dealt lots of unplayable hands. And now we're getting a walk. That is great. Ace queen off, come on. This is a hand that we can finally open, our first raise of the day. And we flop top pair, top kicker. I think we can go for a bet. This is a board where if we are out of position, we can do a lot of checking on, but I'm happy to bet. Now, this is not a great turn, but we have the ace of diamonds, so I'm continuing to bet small on this 10 of diamonds, and we get called. And the thing now is that I don't want to go down the check call route, so I am going to go for a value bet, and I'm gonna go Well, I'm gonna go slightly bigger. I'm gonna go half pot, almost half pot, because I do think I can still get called by maybe something like pocket jacks or a weaker queen. This is getting a bit thin, but did we get called by ace 10? Okay, that's fine. So he had second pair. I don't really know why he called on the flop though, and that's the problem if you cold call in that early position, so that clearly shows that he is not a great player. So I will color code him as the baby non-crusher. So that's my red tag for players who might well be total non-crushers, but I'm not entirely sure. So what he did was definitely not GTO and not standard for these online games. Calling there with ace-10 suited in the hijack against the low jack open. Actually, the more I'm thinking about it, actually I should give him the purple tag of the total non-crusher, because yeah, he just didn't do a great job there, and he paid me off 3 times. He was very passive, and I got good value out of that hand. Triple barreled it, even though 2 uh, bets were just a third and the river bet was half pot. But that's the thing, and I'm just actually making a video about that for my other channel, well, the live poker guide, if you want to check it out. And that video is about not check calling on the river, because players just don't bet enough, and especially in live poker and small stakes online. And 2NL, I'm pretty confident that that is a very small stake. The players just don't bluff enough there. So if you check call the river after you showed a lot of aggression before that, then that is usually a way of burning money. So what you can do on the river in such a spot is either what I did, to go for value if you think that you can still get called by worse, or if you just don't think that you have enough equity to get called by worse, just check and then check fold. And you might think, well, that's very nitty, and yes, it is, but if they're not bluffing enough, and the thing is, like, if you show a lot of strength before that and they keep calling you, they typically have something, which means that by the time they're on the river, they either have a bluff catcher or they have a value hand. And if they have a bluff catcher, then they're not going to bet that themselves. They will just happily check behind. So if they bet, that means they have a value hand. They could, of course, have a bluff, but if you just bet the flop, bet the turn, then there aren't usually many bluffs that they can have there. So that's why I'm saying that you should rather check fold than check call on rivers. Obviously, if there are a lot of draws that break, that changes the situation. Then I'm much more call happy in that spot. But if there aren't any draws that break because there weren't any draws there in the first place, or they all got there, those are telltale signs that you should fold. I'm opening pocket fours under the gun, and the reason for that was just because I've not played much. This is sometimes open, and once we get 3-bet and then get 4-bet, I think it's pretty safe to assume that pocket fours are not great. So just folding them, and everyone folded as well. Then the 3-better did, which I can see here. Pocket nines. This will be a hand that we will 3-bet, our first 3-bet of the day. So again, this is something in GTO territory you could actually flat call in the cutoff against under the gun raise. However, I do not like that. And queen 6 deuce. This is a board that we would want to c-bet big in position if we c-bet, but there are a lot of checks as well. And the question is what to do with this one. In this case, I will just check back. But this is one I actually want to mark for review later, because I'm not entirely sure what to do really with a hand like pocket nines. Now I do have to go for the call, because he could have all sorts of things. Now we have a full house. However, if he has a queen or a better pair than us, then we have to fold. And this is a close one, I think. He is quite aggressive. Well, I mean, I only have 22 hands on him. So I can go for the bluff catch or I can fold. I mean, he's saying that he has a queen or something really good, and because we didn't really filter his range post flop, I am going to call, but he did have the ace queen there, so unfortunately that wasn't great. And that's the thing with these tiny stakes. Players might just not bluff enough, so maybe this would have been a fold there. I just have to review that hand. I'm not really happy with how I played it, but that's mainly because I'm results oriented, I think. Here, a7 offsuit, I have to fold. So yeah, that hand, as usual, like in every session, I tend to have one hand where I just don't really know how to play it, and so that's why I will need to review it, but I will review it here in this video, so just bear with me. At the end of the session we will do that. 10-6 off, well, is super nit 9-9. That's why I raised it. I was about to fold, and then I noticed this guy barely ever plays a hand, which means that we have a profitable raise with our entire range, including where I have 10-6 offsuit, and I would have raised anything then after seeing his stats. So that was basically almost free money there. Even though it's not a lot, it's just the big blind plus our small blind. So it's not too bad. King 10 off against a very tight open from under the gun. It's just about to defend. Now the thing is, it becomes less of a defend, even though like, you might be saying we're priced in, and yes, we are up against 3 really bad players, but I still think I don't want to waste that one big blind. We would have actually flopped a king, but the thing is, king 10 offsuit is often dominated. Someone can have ace king, king queen, king jack. Those are just hands that might or that would dominate us, and we would run into trouble there. So that is the reason why I prefer not to even open them. But I'm going to open 5 for suited in the cutoff, and we get called by the button. And we do have a gut shot, so I'm just going to go for the bet, although we would do a lot of checking in this spot, but I just decide to bet because we can get him to fold, and that is always good if you have 5 high. A3 suited, not going to play that one. Pocket threes. Yeah, let's just open it. And I'm having a bit of a sizing tell because I'm opening small with small pairs and bigger with value hands, but I think I can get away with that. I got snap called, which means that he might have a jack, he might have a pocket pair. I think our threes are not necessarily super great. He might have a club draw, but it's unlikely. And when he bets so big, he's polarizing, or at least in theory he should be. What he has reggy stats, so I think this guy will do this. Well, he's saying he has a jack, a 5, or a bluff, and yes, I mean I can beat the bluff, I can't beat the jack, I can't beat the 5. And so I will just fold to this big size. I don't think it's a big mistake to call, but I do think that his range is actually quite strong, and him being a reg, I just don't think. I mean, yeah, he could have a flush draw, but the thing is, like with a flush draw, he might have check raised that one on the flop. So I just exclude a few combinations of that, and he has a lot of jack X there, cold calling in the small blind. He can have ace jack, king jack, queen jack, jack 10. So there are quite a few hands. And now I'm going to 3-bet ace queen offsuit. Big blind versus button. I hope to not get 4-bet. He's thinking hard. I don't know if he's thinking whether to fold or call and 3-bet, 4-bet, but it was a fold in the end, so I am happy with that. 9-3 suited, not going to go anywhere with that one. 10-8 off is also a fold. Yeah, so if you're unsure what hands to open because you don't know exactly how to memorize the ranges or how to memorize the charts, the opening charts, then I have just a video for you, and I will leave the link in the description because on my other channel, Live Poker Guide, I've just released a video on how to memorize ranges. And there's a really easy hack for that. So I definitely recommend watching it if you ever struggle with memorizing ranges. Okay, king jack off, definitely an open in the small blind. Get called. This is not the best flop for us. We have king high. I'm going to check. And he checks back. Do we need to go for a bluff? I mean, we don't have an amazing hand, but we do have some showdown equity. And once he checks back again, I mean, he might as well have an ace, but this board is just not great for our range. Yeah, he does have the ace, and yeah, we could maybe have gotten him off that, but we would have had to double, if not triple barrel, and I just didn't want to do that. So I'm okay with losing to ace high when I have king high. I mean, it would have been a different story if I had had 5 high, but I still think the king high could have won it, so that was okay. 10 deuce off, the Dole Brunson memory hand, not going to play it. Queen 10 off, just not good enough under the gun. So how have we lost so much? Well, I mean, we lost less than $1, but we were at like 107 big blinds just a few moments ago. But yeah, goes quickly if you just have to forfeit a few blinds. Pocket 4 is in the big blind. This will be a hand we can defend. And we have 2 players. Do we want to raise this one? I mean, yeah, let's raise it up to 5 big blinds. We probably have the best hand at this point. I mean, there might be pocket 5 somewhere or 6s, but unlikely. Wow, this player has 2.5 big blinds behind. So this will be an all-in if everyone folds. Come on, fold. Yes. Well, let's just not exaggerate it. Make it 4 big blinds. Easy post-flop decisions if he calls. Come on. Call or fold. Just don't tank. Fold. That's fine too. It's funny that players actually play cash games with like 3.5 big blinds. Marvelous. Pocket 9s. Gonna raise this one. Last time we had pocket 9s with 3-bet, and then I called off a half pot bet on the river and lost. Okay, this flop we could c-bet, but it's not a 100% d-bet. But I will c-bet it because I can clear out a lot of equity hands like queen jack, king 10. something like that. Well, Queen Jack now beats us, which is why I will definitely check behind. Definitely can't go for value with this one, but I wanted to fold out some hands. Didn't work out, and now we are just hoping to get to showdown, which is what we're doing. No reason to turn it into a bluff. And we lose to pocket jacks. Yeah, I didn't expect that, but I'm okay with that. I mean, we lost kind of the minimum. He should have 3-bet pre-flop, and then I would have had to call there. Would have lost a bigger pot. Ace-10 suited, definitely a call, not folding, and not raising against under the gun. We flop the nut flush draw. Now we have the nut flush, and I'm gonna go for a 3/4 bet on this one. And if he calls, I'm gonna go for a bigger bet on the river. But I think he probably doesn't have much because he didn't c-bet the flop. So yeah, he just gave up, which is sad. But what can you do? Ace-3 off. I will open this one up once I can, because we got a tight player in the big blind, and we do get the fold. So happy about that. Ace-Queen off against limper, just going to bump it up to 4 big blinds. And Pavel is now shoving. Well, I mean, this is a close one because, yes, it could be trapping. He's 44-11 over 9 hands. I mean, he could be doing this with some pocket pair. I will just fold. It's the lower variance route. Like, notice we're not massive favorites. Yes, he could do this with ace-jack maybe, or maybe even king-queen or something like that. But he will have a lot of pocket pairs, and even if he has deuces, we're flipping. And he could have ace-king. He could have queens, kings, aces. So I will just fold. I don't think it's a big mistake to call. But ace-king I would always call there. Ace-queen is the hand that's just borderline, and ace-jack I would always fold in that spot. Yeah, the dreaded limp re-raise is something I know very well from live poker, and most of the time players actually have it. Now, I don't know at 2NL, but it probably compares quite well to live poker, so I think it's fine to just fold there. Pocket jacks, opening it, and we get a snap 3-bet. That's pretty big, and because he's 60 big blinds, for 60 big blinds, even in these positions, I am gonna go for the jam. And we get called by ace-queen off. Yeah, so now we're flipping and we're having an advantage. Of course, well, I was going to say, of course, the ace comes on the turn, but then it was pretty good that we had a set on the river. I'm just going to mark this hand for review as well, because I want to see what Solver would have done, although I'm pretty sure Solver would have jammed as well for the 60 big blinds. This is another one of those. King 10 off. I am going to fold it because there are 2 players. I would have called heads up, but being monkey in the middle with King 10 off is just not very profitable, especially in this high rake environment. This is something I have learned to just be tighter in multi-way pots, just full stop. You just don't want to call there, even though I know that a lot of players would. 7-6 suited. Okay, let's play it. This is a low frequency open, but I've not had many showable hands on this stream, and well, I'm getting punished straight away by a tied player, but we are very deep and we have position, and this is the type of hand where I do want to call. So let's see if we can get ourselves into trouble. And I mean, yeah, he should bet small, and I think I have to fold. He could easily have a king, and if not, his range is definitely stronger than mine. I am just going to fold this one. Obviously, if he had flopped the flush draw, I would have continued. But the backdoor flush draw, backdoor straight draw, and 7 high, just all together, it doesn't sound amazing. Okay, king, queen off. If he raises, I will just flat call. But he seems distracted. Now he raises, and as I said, going to flat call this one. And flopping top pair is pretty good. And therefore, I am going to bet this one. What shall we go for? Let's go half pot. This is an unconventional size for online poker these days, but if he had some sort of hand, I think he would call that. And I didn't want to go too big, but just didn't want to go just third pot. King jack off, we could raise, we could fold. I think I'm gonna fold this time. Queen jack suited in the small blind. Now this is a hand that we can 3-bet, which we are going to do. I'm gonna go quite big, and we get the snap fold. Off, as I've said many times before, not a hand I would open from anywhere really. And now ironically we have it in the big blind. Let's see if we want to defend with it. I would against a small blind raise. I will not against a cutoff raise and a button call. Okay, now our stats start looking more normal. 22-19. And we have ace queen once again. Third time lucky. Well, not much action this time. Just checking my 3-bet percentage. 7%. Okay, yeah, that shows that I've been a bit rusty and I've been playing a little bit too much live poker. And that's probably why I didn't 3-bet that king jack offsuit earlier. I need to do a little bit more 3-betting. Because I'm playing slightly too passively. Well, but if you have a lot of players limp, then you have to play a bit more passively. I could, but I don't want to 3-bet this one now because there is a limper and it's quite a big raise, but normally 10-7 suited is a hand that I would 3-bet big blind versus button, but I think I can find better spots for that today. Jack 10 off, bit too early to open. By that I don't mean too early in the morning, but just too early as the position. Pocket deuce is never gonna flat there with this rake structure and not good enough to 3-bet, so we have to fold it on the button. Well, a walk with 8 high, always very welcome. Ace 5 suited, this could be a 3-betting hand, but no need to, we can just open it. Okay, let's find our next good 3-bet spot. Well, it won't be Jack 3 offsuit. Yeah, as I said, pocket 3s and 4s are low frequency opens in early positions. Last time I opened them, this time I chose not to. That's my random randomizer that I use. Queen Jack suited. Now this could be a 3-betting hand if someone raises before me. But not happening. So we just go for the open raise. Okay, we flop second pair. We could check, we could bet small. I think here I'm happy to just check. Not in love with a turn. However, he has a very wide range, so if you bet small like he's doing, definitely calling. And now we have a full house. However, we still lose to the ace. Question is, if we bet this one, can we get called by anything worse? And I just don't think, I'm all for thin value betting, but I just don't think we can. And, well, he had the 9, so maybe in this case we would have been able to. But my thinking was he has a lot of air that he's just giving up with. And then he should have some aces that he slow plays. Now, I don't know how good Pool is at doing that, but I would sometimes do that, for example, because it's rare to get value. Then yes, exactly from a jack he could have gotten value, but he could have slow played there. And I just thought because he has a lot of air and some very few slow plays, and then not many hands that could pay me off. Plus, like for example, a jack. Like I didn't want to bet a jack there. But I think probably he had the one hand with a 9 that might have paid me off if I had bet small. But that's the thing, like if he's good enough to then turn it into a bluff, which he might not really do because I could have ace x there a lot actually. So yeah, maybe I should have gone for a thin value bet there. Because if he does raise, he basically always has an ace. Because he can't expect me to go for thin value with a jack or anything else. Okay, top pair, top kicker, and he donks. Okay, so normally against donks, I would raise if I had a bluff, but because I have top pair, top kicker, I'm happy to call. And he might have a big hand, but more often than not, he won't. Although now he bets pretty big again, but I have top pair, top kicker, definitely not folding. And now, sadly, the flush comes in, which is like really annoying. But he checks, and that's good because it means that he probably doesn't have the flush. And I am gonna go for value now. This is thin value because I'm just hoping to get called by King Jack or Queen Jack, basically, or something like Ace 10, King 10, Queen 10. But he might have two pair, that's the problem. But if you get raised, that's an easy fold. And he just folded there, so I think we got the maximum out of him. But yeah, that is something that a lot of recreational players do, and that's another one of the exploits that I'm just doing in a video from my Live Poker Guy channel. That is something that in live poker happens quite a bit, that recreational players will just donk with all sorts of rubbish, and the exploit for that is to just check, raise their donk bet. Queen 8 just about outside my opening range, but he's a tight player, so I will raise it this time. And we get it through. Queen 9 off again. And against the 3x open, especially once the small blind calls, this is a fold. So my laptop's getting a bit hot now again, which is why we're seeing these delays. But let's hope that it's all good. So we're winning a few pots at this stage. Are we in positive territory? No, we're still, in theory, losing EV-wise. Pocket sixes, this will be an open. Baby Sol from Canada. Okay, bottom set, not too shabby. I am gonna bet this one, and exploitatively I'll go a bit bigger. Think if he has an ace, he will definitely call. If he has a flush draw, he will definitely call, if not even raise. But sadly, he didn't seem to have anything. He just snap folded. So it didn't get much action with our bottom set. Okay, I wanted to play a hand against the limper, but I can't do that once someone raises. Okay, so he makes it 3x there, but I'm still going to 3-bet, and we're very deep. We have position, and we just get the snap fold. Very happy about that one. Ten-8 suited. I am going to open this one. This is an interesting name, Dead Mouse, and he 3-bets us. Nothing to do for us then to fold. Okay, King 6 suited. Definitely a defend against any position to a normal raise size, but we just get the walk. Okay, Ace Jack opening. And we flop top pair, good kicker. This is one where I would go big or check, so I can just go big, even though he has quite a few broadways, but maybe because of that it's quite good, because he could have king jack, king 10, so these gut shots that have to call. Also any queen x has to call there, or a weaker ace, so I'm happy with that bet. King 10 suited, easy game when everyone folds. Ace jack again. So very soon I am going to look at those hands. Do we want to 3-bet king 8 suited? No, I think it's just not good enough because we can't make a straight with that hand. King 9 suited, I would have 3-bet. King 8 suited, I won't. Yeah, so I'm going to play one more orbit, and then I'm going to go over the marked hands, which I think is only 2 today. So stay tuned for that. Ooh, this player, I mean, he's the one. Do I want to? I actually don't want to, even though I have a really pretty hand. But again, we're just not really in a great spot, because if he has a hand like a7 offsuit, we're behind. So I will not call it off, even though it's for 15.5 big blinds. And we shouldn't forget that we have the big blind behind us, and yeah, most likely he doesn't have a hand. But what if he wakes up with a hand, and then we will have to invest even more or fold after calling 15 big blinds. So I think it's just safer to fold king queen suited there to a small jam. Okay, so let's just do this and go to GTO Wizard. And also here I want to look at these two hands, copy, and we're going to have GTO Wizard analyze it for us. And there's something that we didn't do quite right. So the raise was the preferred option. That's fine. And then, yeah, this is what I wanted to see. Okay, so I checked and wow, the 0% check, which surprises me. We should have bet. Oh, this is all very surprising. Okay, because normally I would have thought that this is a big bet board in a 3-bet pot, but look, we should bet small, so we could have bet small on this one. I just want to see what our range does very quickly in this spot. Our range, no, this is, I think, them. We are the cutoff. So what do we want to do? We want to check half of the time. So I was right with that, but we just don't want to check pocket nines. And we want to bet. Yeah, so it is actually mainly a big bet board. So that's why I just simplified it, because I thought it's either big bet or check, which it is for the range. But nevertheless, there is a little bit of small betting. And it just so happens that pocket nines do most of that small betting, apparently. So this is why with this hand, you just don't want to check and you want to bet small. But in general, with my simplification, I didn't technically make a mistake. Okay, so we checked, and now when he bets, we have a mandatory call. And look at this, on the river, solver would call, although it's actually minus EV, even though tiny. So yeah, against pool, I would say if solver says this is barely a call, then I would say against pool this is definitely a fold. So I made a mistake there on the river. I just thought because I hadn't filtered his range that he might have too many hands that he doesn't know what to do with, just bluffs. But actually thinking about it now, this should have been a fold. Okay, next one was the pocket jacks hand. And the pocket jacks hand was played fine apparently, so raise is good. And we can, oh yeah, okay, so solver would just raise, what? So he made it 9 big blinds, and solver suggests to make it 12 now. Is that even possible? No, that's not even possible. I don't know what solver really thinks about that, because that's against the rules. You can't, like, the minimum raise would be 6.5 would be to 15.5, so you can't raise to 12. So I don't know why, well, that must be a glitch. So we can't learn too much from this. But anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time.